Hi everyone, Jean here from Inky Studio. Welcome to my channel, welcome to first time viewers, and welcome back to my regular viewers. I'm happy to have you here today in this brand new year of 2021, and I'm hoping that it will bring a much better things than last year did for us, for all of us. I am going to be starting a new project, and this project is a design team project for Queen of Mirth. And she is a digital artist, and she gifted me with this beautiful, wonderful digital kit. It is called Botanist's Notebook. It is 37 pages long. So I'm telling you, I couldn't print them all out, or I really couldn't use everything in this project, but I did print out a share of it. I want you to go over there and check out and see what she's got, what the rest of the kit consists of. But let me just give you a sneak peek of what it is that I'm going to be doing. I am going to be doing a lap book. And this was sort of a mock-up, and this is like half of the lap book, right? So usually there's another fold of another fold going on here. But this is just a little preliminary thing that I did. And so basically I probably will put some journaling pages in here, put a couple of eyelets and an elastic band. Over here we have a pocket. I'm going to be placing a pocket inside there. And I'm going to be putting some cards in there. And over here, then I'm got some envelopes going here that also have some journaling cards in there and some pretty pockets. And so this is sort of like a preliminary mock-up of what I'm going to be doing. So let me just get started with the one page here, and this is the collage page. I really love this collage page. There's so much you can do. I like collage pages anyways. There's so much you can do with them. So that is the page there, and this is another collage page of all these lovely illustrations of florals. To me, this is very Edith Holden-esque looking. So if you're working on an Edith Holden project, you might find some things in here that you could use in your project. And this is just one of 8 journal pages in here. So that's that one there. So you get 8 of those. You get a load of pockets and tags and envelopes and all that kind of stuff. So here I've got some pockets I'm going to be using with the little tags. And here are some more this is library pockets that I'm going to be putting inside this project. Here are some more tags, and really lovely. I like all these illustrations are very neat. There's a couple labels. She even provides a plain tea stain paper that you can print on the back of all your tags and cards, so that you don't have plain white to look at. So that was pretty handy. I like that. And here's some she calls them journaling cards, but I'm going to do something a little different with them. They're very nice. With that little selection. And so now we come to the cover of the project that I'm going to be using. She provides you with a cover in the kit that looks like this, and it's lovely. It's got a nice iris on it, really pretty. But I am using a book cover from one of her other kits, and it's a Blossom and Bloom kit. And I'm going to put a link down below of a project that I made with that kit a while ago. It's also a beautiful kit. So for this project, I am going to do what I would probably call a very relaxed tutorial. In other words, it's going to be a little bit of a craft along, but you will definitely see how I assemble it and put it together. So if you decide to do this project for yourself, I would recommend watching all my different parts of putting this together, because there might be something along the way that I would like to change, if I had to go back and do it over again, or some suggestions or tips or whatever. So the first thing that I'm going to need here are 4 pieces of chipboard. And I've already started covering this one, but you're going to need 4 pieces of chipboard. And because I don't have a book, and if you have 2 books that are about the same size, that's great. You can check out Nick the Booksmith's, and I'll put her link down below too, where she takes 2 books and make a lap book out of it. But I am making a smaller version. I believe these are 5 by 8 inches pieces of chipboard. If you do not have chipboard, that's no problem, because you can just very easily use like a cereal box. So this is a huge box, I know. Just any kind of a food box, I would say. And I would recommend getting 3 pieces and gluing them together and making sure that the plain side is showing on both of them so that it doesn't compete with your paper you may be putting on there. It won't show through. But glue them together, put them under something heavy overnight, lay some heavy books on them, and you'll have a nice, piece of chipboard that you can be using for this instead of, the traditional kind. So just putting that out there so you can know that. So these, you can cut these any size. Of course you can. You're only dictated by the size of your paper. You want to be able to put one continuous piece of paper over it. So if you have 12 by 12 scrapbook paper, you can make this a larger project than what I'm doing here. But for the 8.5 by 11 that I have, this is probably going to be just about right. So these are 5 by 8. You'll need 4 of these. Then you're going to need the spines. And you'll need a spine for the very middle. And, let me measure that. Sorry. I think I've forgotten. It is, this is 1 1/4 inch. 1 1/4 wide, of course, by 8 inches. And the 2 additional spines, get this thread all over. The 2 additional spines that will connect the outside closures are to be half the size of this spine. So however thick you want the spine to be, and you can make it thicker if you want, or you can make it thinner. Whatever size you want this to be, the 2 outside ones need to be half of it. So essentially what you can do is cut 2 pieces just like this, and then cut one of them in half, So that would be easy. So I know that you can't see everything laid out in totality, but this is basically the pieces that I'm going to be using in the project. You will also need 1, 2, 3, 4. You'll also need pieces to connect the joints. You'll need cloth to connect the joints on the inside and on the outside. So you'll need 4 pieces. I guess I cut an extra one. You'll need 4 pieces, and these are 8 by 2.5 for the outside. And of course, because the spine's larger, the one in the middle will need to be a little larger. And that one is 1, 2, 3. This is like 3.5. So you'll need cloth for the inside, and then you'll need cloth, for the outside. Okay, so you'll need 2 pieces for each spine. And I'm using, it's a heavy fabric. It's not quite a duck, and it's not quite upholstery, but it's pretty heavy. It's a pretty heavy material. You could probably use, it wouldn't have to be this heavy. You could use like a muslin, an expensive muslin, or, a cotton material, because we're going to be doubling it up. It should be fine. So yeah, that's what you'll need. I'm thinking here so far. Of course, you're going to need your decorative papers, however you choose to do that. So the first thing that I'm going to do here is I'm going to wrap these pages, or excuse me, these chipboards, I'm going to wrap each of them in a decorative paper. And the reason I'm doing this is because I like to see this covered, this part here covered up. You could just lay paper down to the edge and then have this part show. I just don't like that. I like this look of it, like a book would be. You know, you would cover over that area. And also, I think it adds more strength to it. And if you are doing the layers of the cereal box, that by wrapping it in some decorative paper and going over there, you really make these hold together well. Because sometimes when we glue, we don't always get it right to the edge, and it may start to, peel away a little bit. But if you cover them up with the paper, it's really, I think it's an extra security for it. So generally it's quite simple to do. Let me go ahead and cover this one. So for the outside flaps, because I kind of wanted to make it a book kind of like feeling to it, so that the cover is going to have this on it, and so I wanted the flaps to kind of simulate another book type of thing. I'm going to use this paper, and I'm just going to glue it on. I'm using Elmer's Craft Bond Extra Strength glue stick. I do like this. I've used Yoo-Hoo, and Yoo-Hoo's good too, but it's pricey. Plus, I found that over time, if you don't use a lot of it, and I don't use a lot of glue stick, over time it starts to get gummy and really hard to spread. I have a stick. I've probably had it for a few months, and it's just, I don't know, just didn't like working with it. But anyways, but a lot of people swear by it, so it's worth checking out. Maybe it's something you would like. So we're just going to put that down there in the middle of your 8.5 by 11 page. So you want at least an inch to fold over. This is more than you need at this point, but you want at least an inch to be able to fold over. So you could have made this, a little wider. You could have made this 6 inches wide, and maybe 8, maybe even 9 inches long. So you could have made a bigger cover with 8.5 by 11 than what I have used here. But this is what I'm doing. And I like to take a score and just sort of come down here on the edges. It just kind of makes it easier to fold. Then we're going to cut off the corners to remove that bulk. And we'll want to cut at an angle and get, about this far away from the edge. It's pretty close. Most of the time you can eye it up. If you don't want to eye it up, you can definitely take like a ruler and draw a line and cut that too. Yeah, it's whatever you feel comfortable doing. Okay, this one I feel needs to be a little bit closer. There we go. So we'll just cut that off and press it over. Now you wouldn't need to score it, but for me it just makes it so much easier. And we're going to glue inside here, like so. Get it nicely coated. Yeah, you almost have to do the whole thing. Now, I kind of press down a little bit here just a little bit before I fold this over, just to get used to going over there. Okay. And it will wrap around like this, and if you, sometimes I sort of knock it down a little bit, but it ends up being like this to get a good look at that. So it's just been folded over a little bit, just a wee bit, as you bring this over like so. And if it sticks out, you can just sort of rub it in there like that. And just gently fold it over at the same time, you know, sort of like the same time that you put your project over. But anywho, so there you go, and that is all covered. And of course, we're going to put something here, but I just basically wanted at least one side, you know, covered up. So I'm going to do the other one, and I'll be right back. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to glue on the spine the cloth, and I am using just regular Mod Podge, and I'm going to coat my fabric pretty generously, making sure I get the edges. And I did forget to say that you want to be generous in your cut of cloth. You probably want to cut this cloth about 1 inch longer than what your spine is, so that you've got plenty of wiggle room to work with, because sometimes there's a little bit of shrinkage that occurs when you put something wet in fabric. So we'll just get this nicely coated, and I've got some parchment paper underneath here to kind of keep it nice. So yeah, make sure those little edges are nicely covered there. And just make sure it's soaked in pretty well. Then we're going to get our spine, and we're going to place it in the middle, and you can eye that up. Just make sure pretty much equal room on each side. And we'll just make sure that it has good contact there. Then we're going to get our page. Now what I am doing here is I plan, because you know, once you glue on the cloth is going to be here, but I do plan to glue this over it. Now you may like that look of the cloth there, which is great, because maybe the cloth could be part of the design of your cover, so you don't have to cover it up, I guess I'm saying. So you want to place this a little more than 1/8 of an inch, not quite 1/4 of an inch, about this far. All right, so the rule of thumb is you should be able to put two, you know, the chipboard you're using, you should be able to get 2 of them together and rest it inside that area. So that's kind of the rule of thumb to measure that up with. But what you're doing is you're giving this joint plenty of room to fold over, because otherwise, you know, it won't be so good. It'll be too tight and it will not flap over all the way. So you want to look and make sure that you get the tops and the bottoms as even as you can. Alrighty. Okay, so once I do that, I lift it up off my paper, because it'll glue will dry on it if you don't lift it off, and just run over it, and it will be sticky because some of that glue is going to seep up through the cloth a little bit, but that's okie dokie. All right, that's okay. Try not to get too much glue outside, because you know, Mod Podge is still a little shiny. Now you don't have to use Mod Podge. You can use whatever white glue that works for you. That's what I happen to have. All right. That shouldn't take too long to dry. It's already pretty dry there. Okay. Now let's turn it back over this way. And we will glue the inside of that joint. So you're going to be gluing this right over like this. That's what you're going to be doing. So let me set that aside and get this guy all done up with glue. So, you know, I had all these plans, what I was going to do during a break that I gave myself between Christmas and New Year's. All this stuff I was going to do. And, you know, true to my habits, I put so much in my list that no human being could possibly get them all done, right? Oh yeah, I have to stop doing that. I really, really do. I ended up really, I did organize some things in my craft room, which was good. It really needs to be, need to go through it and thin it out. I did get some of those things done. Don't know what you got done or if you got anything done. And really, should you have to get anything done? No, you can just relax and enjoy your time, which is probably a wiser thing to do. Alrighty, so that's all nicely glued. I'll lift it up off the paper and get this guy out here. And we'll just place it. Try to follow kind of where the other guy is a little bit there. Looks like this one is a little bit shorter. So I really glued this one up, didn't I? Ooh, yes I did. It's all right. Now, let me get a credit card or an old key card here and just make sure all the surfaces are pressed down nicely. Now, what I like to do at this point is I like to take a the name's escaping me. This bone folder, and I like to, or you can take a credit card too. And maybe you've sworn off credit cards and you're getting rid of them. Yeah, sometimes that happens. And I'm going to put on a little bit more glue here because it seems to want to lift up a bit. And then we wipe some of that off. There we go. And then I kind of do that over here. And when you do that, you're going to, you know, reposition this slightly. So we'll need to get in there and get that down again. Alright, so you're going to have this, and so what I like to do then is I like to let it dry like this. So I'll prop something up over here and something over here and just let it dry so it's got that little crease going on inside there. I'm going to finish the other spines off the camera. I'll probably let this one dry before I do the other two, and but I'm going to be doing essentially the very same thing. So I'm going to stop here for now, and thank you so much for watching, and please consider subscribing so that you can see what else I'm going to be doing on this project, and you have a great day. Bye.